Hey everybody, Aaron Blaise here. It's Thursday again. Feels like we've got all these just kind of running together. It's like every time I'm done with a stream, we get a day off, then we come back and we got another one, and they're really coming together a lot. So I'm loving that we're doing this a lot. I got a new backdrop. I'm getting blown over by a dragon today. Because today, this is when I did this dragon, that was on a request day. And so today I want to do another request day. And the other thing, too, about an hour and a half ago, we apologize. We were trying to get things set up, Dustin and I, and we hit the stream button by accident. And so you probably watched us for about an hour with no sound, just looking at my chair. It was really entertaining. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But today is request day. So I'm just going to go cold. You know, we're going to see... Let you guys just kind of suggest. What's that, Dustin?
Oh, we forgot to bring up Nick.
Oh, we got to bring up Nick. That's right. Sorry, Nick. Sorry, Nick. Let me do that.
You keep forgetting Nick.
Well, let me tell you, it's been hectic on this end. It's Deep Thoughts with Nick Birch.
And somebody requests for Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. Oh, and Nick says my color looks great today. Thanks, Nick.
So it says, we'd love to see a cow or pig.
A cow or a pig? What was the first one? Bigfoot?
Bigfoot.
No, right on. Well, before we get any further, we got Dustin here. You're going to be answering questions. Say hi, Dustin.
Hi, everybody. And I actually got a mic this time, so hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yes. No, I'm not. I know we're not on the.
No. Just I.
But I wanted.
Actually hit the wrong.
Oh, gotcha. But we remember last week, just before we get into any of this. Well, not last week. It was on Monday. I found that cicada, and where is it? It's right here. I found that little cicada, and I decided to make that little creature out of it, the cicada gentleman, and someone suggested the top hat and the cane and the monocle. Well, here's the finish right here. You switch over, Dustin?
Yes.
So here it is. Let me move it away from me. And let's do that and this. So what I did was I went in and I finished rendering it. And then I added textures. I went in and grabbed some textures from other insects. And so you can see kind of how it finished up. I've put some grunge texture to make it feel a little old-timey. Old-timey? But and I found like a beehive texture that I thought would be interesting on the shoulders, and some insect textures to put on the arms. And I really spent a lot of time just rendering, just drawing and rendering. Put some compound eye textures on there, as you can see. So it was fun. It came out kind of cool. It's still a little bit loose, but I tighten up in the areas that I need to tighten, and I warmed it up quite a bit, and yeah, it was neat. So that's how it came out. So that was super fun, because at the beginning of the day I had no idea what I was going to do for the live stream, and then all of a sudden we had this cool cicada creature gentleman thing that I wouldn't have done. So I'm hoping today we get something like that. So what else have we got? So we more than Cyborg Lion. We've had Bigfoot, Cyborg Lion.
Cyborg Lion, Bigfoot, Chibi Bigfoot, Pegasus.
Let me go back here real quick, because I lost Nick. Where'd Nick go? There he is. Okay, sound is back.
When I did an introduction to me, I accidentally muted both of us.
There's a YouTube comment, a bit of an odd one, but maybe it'll be a fun challenge to do a creature based off of a succulent. A succulent are like, cactuses and things like that hold a lot of water in their bodies. There's some really alien looking ones that could make fun characters. I would normally do that, but that for me, I can't do something like that out of my head. I need to research it. Succulents I don't have in here. But I like that idea. It's a cool idea.
A giant Indian squirrel.
Giant Indian squirrel.
Werewolf. Landscape painting. African wild dog.
Yeah, I want something more, a little bit more. Let's go nuts with it. Just something like the cyborg lion, something kind of crazy where put me on the spot.
Something
I got to
really
figure
put you on the spot.
Yeah.
So, like a gentleman dragon.
Yeah, gentleman dragon. I'm gonna give it another 30 seconds, and I'm gonna just jump into the cyborg lion.
A wildcat tiger. A couple in love.
A couple in love.
Horse with scales.
A horse with scales.
Yeah. Fennec fox. A cyborg. Pangolin overlord.
A pangolin overlord. That's kind of cool.
A militant platypus. A Viking sheep.
A Viking sheep. That just won. A Viking sheep.
A Viking sheep.
Yes, that just won. I'm doing a Viking sheep.
But there's another Jurassic Park theme, like maybe a lion dinosaur.
No, I'm doing a Viking sheep.
Viking sheep.
I've got to do a Viking sheep. I'm going to do it comic, but I'm going to do it fully rendered. We're going to have fun with it. I've got just the hairbrushes for it, too.
Oh, God.
A Viking sheep. I love that. Who gave that idea?
Viking sheep. Let me see if I can find that. Where are you? Birker Fanner, or Fanar. Birkir. So I think it's Birker.
Yeah.
Birker. And Fannar.
Griffin. Some of them said, okay, sorry guys. Yeah, there's not a whole lot in my mind that can beat a Viking sheep.
No.
I'm going for the comic. So I'm going to jump up here real quick. I got to do a little bit of research. I just need a little bit of reference just to get my brain going. And so I am going to type in sheep.
So Dave has officially joined the stream.
Dave.
Hey
Dave, I'm going to be under Manchester in December. I know that's a long way from you, but I'm going to be in Knutsford near Manchester. Oh man, that's gross. There's a disemboweled sheep in here. That's ridiculous. I just want to pull up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. There's what I want right there. Okay, I'm gonna bring that down here. And there's an image that I like, right? Oops, where is it? There it is. Just want a little bit. I just need a little bit of reference. Just a little reference. And I'm gonna put that because I want you guys to be able to see it. I'm just gonna throw it over onto here. This is gonna be our main canvas right here. And we're going to do that. I'm just going to use one piece of reference. Put it way up in the corner. And let's do one more search. One more search. Sorry, Nick, I can't look at you right now. I got to get rid of that image and get rid of that image. I'm going to look up a Viking. I want to see a full Viking. I'm going to go for the classic, and I know Vikings really didn't wear them, but I'm going to do for the horned. I'm going to do the horned helmet. Viking attire.
And
How's that?
Dave said it is closer than to land.
That's true. So we would love to see you if you can make it to Knutsford. Maybe I'll be able to. I might be able to stay a little bit longer and work in maybe a trip to London. So maybe we can work something out. But anyway, I want to let you know. First week of December, I believe it's the first week, we are going to be over in the UK. So I am looking for Viking reference. This is from the show Vikings. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like this guy. I've seen the show. I'm just going to use that.
the same person that requested it is wondering if we'll ever visit Iceland.
Oh, I have plans on visiting Iceland. I just don't. I want to visit Iceland. I don't know when. Put it that way. So there's our Vikings. Let me do that. Let me do this. I'm going to blow these guys up. Let's do it this way. There. So we're going to grab the sheep, edit, free transform, burp, put it right up in the corner.
And Dave says, come to Swindon. Andrea's birthday is 2nd of December.
Excellent. The 2nd of December is probably when I'll be working. I'm going to be working with a game company in Knutsford, doing some courses up there. But when we're done, we'll see maybe if we can make it down to you guys. So let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and do my typical. I always start with a blank canvas. I don't usually keep the reference on the canvas, but I need to do it here so you guys can see it. If it gets in the way, then I'll pull it off, and we'll just deal with it. But one of the first things I do, as you guys know, is I get rid of that white canvas. I can't stand working on white. I need to work on mid-tones. That way I can go lighter and I can go darker, and I can get a better sense of the values. But I'm going to do, I want this to be fun. But I want it to be realistic too. I want to do something maybe photo real. A Viking sheep. Viking sheep. All right, let's do the sheep first.
So,
Burke, the person that requested the Viking sheep, he has a fun little fact. So fun fact, the language from the show is actually his language, Icelandic. And so he understands the actors very well, and they did a great job. But also, Brother Bear was huge over in Iceland.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I gotta bring Nick back up. Bringing you back up, Nick. Sorry. A ram would work well since it already has horns. That's a YouTube comment, and I love that idea. Can I draw a flock of them? I can't draw a flock of them. That's gonna be too many. But I'm gonna move them down here because they're getting in my way already. Move them out of the way. A ram with horns. Actually, I got an idea for that. Let's do this.
are you ready for another question?
Yes, I am ready for questions.
All right. I was wondering if you knew good places or tutorials to begin learning how to composite animation made in TV Paint.
I don't know of any tutorials right now as far as compositing goes. I do all my compositing actually in Premiere. So,
Have you posted anything about animation acting courses yet?
I have not. I'm actually just getting started on a new scene, a new shot. Hold on just one second. I'm using my brain right now, and I'm having a hard time talking. I want to get a little bit of a character in here.
He looks very happy.
No, he's got to be tough. I'm wanting for him to be tough looking or feeling. But I want it to be kind of comedic, so I'm going to give it a little bit here.
So he says, give the sheep an axe.
I got to get that eye down low. Whoa, why is that eraser so big? I got to change my eraser. Where was it? It was here. I'm going to do that one. And it's only 58%. I got to bring that up. There we go.
Yeah, some of the folks are saying it very much looks like Cusco, the llama.
Oh, well, I guess they'd kind of be similar, wouldn't they? All right, I'm just going very quickly. And the one thing I want to get, is...
Fun fact, there are more than 200 different kinds of sheep.
Interesting. Oh, my brush is in color dodge. Thank you for whoever said my brush is in color dodge. It's back to normal now. But because I was using a dark... because I was using a dark brush, it really didn't matter. But thanks for telling me. It was a question. I had it in color dodge by accident. I didn't mean to. I was working on an image earlier, and I was using color dodge. I want him to be all like poof, like poofed out.
Is there any animatical or anatomical? I always screw that up.
That's okay.
Or structural difference.
Animatical is
animatical.
Yeah, animatical is good too.
Anatomical. But is there any difference structural or anyway between a cow and a buffalo?
Oh yeah, I mean they're very similar, but no, there's definitely differences between a domestic cow and a buffalo. So I'm just going with a typical horn just to see what it looks like. Horns. I've got to move. Sorry guys, but these are just driving me nuts. I've got to move these out of the way. I'm just gonna turn them off. I'll use them as I need them. And for some reason, my TV Paint is bopping up and down. This is a new shot I'm doing for TV Paint. I'll show you guys later. But let me turn that away. There we go. For some reason.
What was your first job at Disney?
My first job at Disney was as an assistant. I was a cleanup assistant, and it was my job to work with Mark Kausler, who is the animator I was assigned to work with. We were doing a cartoon short called Roller Coaster Rabbit. It was a Rajah Rabbit cartoon, and hold on one second. And he did a lot of animation of Baby Herman and Roger, and so it was my job to go in and clean up all of his rough animation, to redraw it basically. And it was really cool because he was a really broad, or is a very broad animator, and he had a lot of great history. The first production he ever worked on was Yellow Submarine with the Beatles, and so it was really cool to talk with him. And he's a encyclopedia of animation history. So we'd had a great time. But Mark Kausler is his name. All right, so I've kind of got a fun sheep Viking looking thing. I think I'm either going to go with that for the horns, or something like, just imagine. Let me turn this down. Something like that, or something like it would go. I'm trying to see this in my brain. It'd go this way, go like that. I like the simple silhouette, I think. I mean, I could get this to work. And I know that's more sheep-like, but there's something about that simple silhouette that I like better. Because I've got reference of rams. It goes, which way does it go? It goes, oh shoot. I'm trying to remember. It goes this way, I think, and then it curls. Yeah, it goes this way. It's a three-sided. The horns basically got three sides. It's like a triangle, a twisting triangle. So it's hard to envision that in my brain, my little brain. How we doing on questions there, Dustin?
Doing pretty good. Just
That's awesome.
You keep on talking.
Oh, you can interrupt me. I'm just rambling. Take a consensus. What do people like? Do they like the ram horns like this? Or do people like
a couple people that like the curls, but some people are also saying that the horns are the curled ones are too distracting.
I thought so too. That's my idea. That's what I agree. I think this one is a lot clearer, and it's just going to be easier to draw.
Yeah.
So let's look at this guy. These guys. I want to get some. I want to get some referrals. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. There we go. I want to go bring this up. Looking at some of their costumes, I'm just going to fake some of this. But I just want to put some furs on fur. There you go. So, whoops. All right, so let's turn that off. And
ready for another question?
yes, I'm just trying to think of a pose. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm thinking really hard here because I love this idea. Whoever gave it to me.
So this is a Keystone or Keystone. I'm sorry if I'm saying the name wrong, but she says I met you 2 years ago at CTN.
Awesome.
Will you be coming to CTN again this November?
Yes, we are. For sure.
There we are.
Yes.
Sweet.
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 Yes, we are. So I'm wondering. I'm trying to figure out. Do I want to anthropomorphize and have him standing up, or do I want to have him standing like a sheep? Let's see. Image rotate clockwise. Let's do something. I want to try something real quick. Oh, it says, okay, we need to kill Dustin's mic every time he speaks. We can't hear me. I guess we're overlapping. So I'll just make sure that we don't overlap in our speaking.
Well, I think is they can't hear you because I'm switching to my audio whenever I'm asking the question, then I switch it back to you.
Okay, let's just
keep it.
Just keep it on me, I guess, and then we'll figure something out later. We'll figure out a workaround.
Okay, I guess I'll sit over here in the corner.
Well, you got to speak louder though, because we're gonna. The thing is, we're trying to get people are having a hard time hearing Dustin ask the questions, and so we're trying to figure out a workaround.
And every time we try a new sound, there's always an echo.
Yeah. So Dustin was trying to do it to switch back and forth. Twitch question. Recently, I bought a two second hand Preston Blair books, advanced animation. What do you think about Preston Blair books? I think Preston Blair books are some of the best you can get. So you've got good stuff there. I want to push this. I want to push that expression just a little bit.
Yeah, somebody says that sheep needs the Mjolnir's hammer necklace.
What is it?
Mjolnir, the hammer, Thor's hammer.
A hammer necklace?
Yeah. A Viking's lucky charm. Basically.
Does it just look like a hammer?
Yeah, with a chain wrapped around his neck.
Like this?
Something like that.
Looks like a whistle.
Yeah, I actually think you should hang it the other way around.
What do you mean the other way around? I don't know. Oh, from the handle?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. There we go. I'll just make them really poofy back here. This is kind of fun. I'm digging this. This is fun. All right.
What were your thoughts on the movie Atlantis, Lost Empire?
I like that. I get that question a lot for some reason. I don't know why I get that question so much. But I love that movie. I really like the directors, Ron Clements and John Musker. I like them a lot. I think I'm going to go back to making it a vertical. I'm going to go back to that. I think that's a better image. Oh. Image rotation clockwise.
Well, you and Dustin tried to say brother bear in Icelandic, which he shows the wording of, but I can't pronounce it.
Nope, sorry.
And also, would I be able to buy you guys or bring you guys to Iceland for some days and show you guys around the east side?
That would be awesome. If we make it there someday, we will definitely take you up on it. Definitely. All right, someone says YouTube comment, would be cool if you give them a beard. Vikings are bearded people. Let's see what that might look like.
Kind of like a bearded goat.
That's what I'm thinking. Now, that's what I'm wondering, if it's going to look too goat-like. Whoops.
Some piercing in the ears, maybe, somebody recommends?
That's a great idea. I'll do that.
Ooh, how about braided fur from his chin?
That's what I'm going to do right now.
As soon as I mentioned bearded goat, I started thinking, I'm going to talk to a goat. Hey, goat, how's it going? I had a beard like that in Perfect Storm. You ever see that movie?
All right, here we go. I'm just going to draw that really quick, just as a quick representation for the beard. I kind of like that. Let's roll. You want to roll with that?
Yeah, I like that.
This is super rough, right? This is going to be funny.
Makes him look like a old, wise Viking chieftain.
Some earrings.
Did you hear what Andreas Therahorn is doing?
No.
What is going on? I don't know. Will you someday come to Montreal?
You know what? Someday we will. You know, I vacation very close to Montreal, up in Vermont. My family's from Burlington, Vermont, and we stay on the lake up there. There's a lake house that I rent each year, and it's about 45 minutes from Montreal. So one of these times I'll make it up there. So I think this is kind of a fun little thing. Not quite sure. I want to get the anatomy right here.
So somebody sent a link, and this is what a Mjolnir necklace looks like.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay.
You got it?
Yeah. I'm just going to draw it in really quick.
I still have it up in case you need to look at it.
I'm just scribbling right now. I just want to get everything in, and then I'm going to refine the drawing, because this will take me forever if I keep going the way I'm going.
So he said, the more I look at it, the more I think it's a self-portrait.
YouTube comment. Call him barbarian. He's a barbarian. There we go. There we go.
We need Jim Brewer's Goat Man.
There we go. Yeah. I can't do it. All right, let's knock that back just a little bit more. Let's throw a layer on top. Let's refine this drawing a little bit.
What do you think about animating in Photoshop? Have you tried it before?
I hate animating in Photoshop. I'm trying to give them real sheep eyes or goat eyes. Do goats and sheep have the same eyes, don't they? I think they do. Don't they have those horizontal pupils?
I think so.
Actually, let me see. Can we see? Oh, it's upside down. Image. Oh, let me edit. Transform vertical. I'm on the wrong layer. Hold on a minute. There we go. Edit. Arg. Transform vertical. I think sheep have. Edit.
Bill Fortney says, beard looks a little too Egyptian to me. Maybe double braids?
We'll see. It's getting a little too busy.
Yeah.
I can't tell from this photo if they have that. It's single braid. I think it'll be fine. I'm gonna make it reddish. Well, maybe not reddish, but whitish. But it'll feel Viking. All right. Let's see here. I'm gonna turn that off. Oh, I gotta hit return. Turn that off. Back to this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go so far as to give him those. I might do that. Oh, maybe I will. Let's just try it.
Will you do a class in South Korea that the general public can sign up for someday? Last time it was at a high school or something.
Yeah, I did. I did it at a high school. You know, they were footing the bill. Yeah. South Korea is really tough for us because it's so far. But if we are able to do it, of course, yeah, we would love to do something for the public. It's just that South Korea is really hard for us to get to, but we'll work on it. If we feel like there's a big enough audience for us to come see us, then we'll definitely do it. Twitch question: would you consider painting this using a different process? Perhaps pretend you're using gouache with minimal brushstrokes. It could be interesting. You know what? I might do that another time. For doing a request day like this, where I want to try to get it done, I'd rather not experiment all the way with with my process as well. I'd rather just draw with my normal or paint render with my normal process just so I can get it done. I'm going to give him some goat teeth.
Another request says, draw the sheep number markings and it should say Dustin. Basically, it should have my name tag on there.
Oh yeah.
It's me as a Viking sheep.
There we go. There we go. Right up into the beard. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. Viking sheep. A Viking sheep.
I've just started using Wacom Intuos.
Yeah.
What kind of things should I draw to improve my skills?
You can draw whatever you want, just as long as you're drawing. Subject matter doesn't really matter. If you wanted, I would say draw realism. Draw. If you want to really improve your skills, draw. Realistic things from reality, and then as you get better at that, then you can break those rules and start pushing more character stuff, or pushed stuff, I should say. There we go. Still not liking that eye. What do you think, Dustin? I think it should be a little bit more anthropomorphic, more human, just to read it a little better.
Well, don't from a distance the sheep kind of have dark tinted eyes, almost black?
Yeah, but that'll look like he's freaking possessed or something.
Well, he's Vikings. Vikings usually have that kind of look to them.
But there we go. Oh, sheep have rectangle-shaped pupils. Thank you. Which is sort of like the horizontal slits, I think. I couldn't remember. I never had sheep. I had goats when I was a kid. I had to milk the goat twice a day. I really did. I had to go out and milk the goats. And we drank goat's milk, and it was gross. Never liked goat's milk. So I'm going to just make all this really puffy, and then I'm going to probably go in with my hair brushes. I might do. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just try rendering just without cheating with my brushes. But I've got hair brushes for those of you that are curious and want to work in Photoshop and you want to make some shortcuts. If you go to creatureartteacher.com, sorry, Dustin, put you on the spot. But if you go to creatureartteacher.com, I've got a whole bunch of Photoshop brushes, for painting hair, painting clouds, painting water, painting foliage, and then just regular, natural media type brushes. The brush that I'm using right now, you can find on my website, Creature Art Teacher, and there's all kinds of stuff there, along with Photoshop lessons, lessons on storyboarding, story construction, animal drawing, character design, animation, all kinds of stuff. Oh, the other thing too is we're running we've just started offering a brand new membership for streaming. So we've got a brand new streaming membership, so check that out. So I'm done with my sale right now, pushing my sale. This is kind of fun. This is it might be a little goaty compared to a sheep, but if I can get enough fur in there.
What if he has a scar in his eye?
Oh, I think it's getting a little busy. Right now, I'm getting a little bit busy in here, so I want to make sure that I'm leaving at least a little bit of an area for quiet.
If you made an anthropomorphic self-portrait, which animal would you choose to represent yourself?
So if I made a self-portrait of an animal as me,
yeah,
I'm a bear.
You're a bear.
I'm a bear. I identify with bears better. Or a lion, big cat.
Yeah,
An amoeba.
I see it as a bear.
An amoeba.
Amoeba.
A paramecium.
Or a bird.
Bird.
Bird. Yeah, I think I'm more of a Bigfoot.
Yeah, you're a Sasquatch for sure. All right, so I'm trying to tie this down. Get this down really quick. But it's fun coming up with something right off the cuff. I love it when we do request day because I have no idea what we're going to do, and I just got to pull it out of my hat. Quick YouTube question: do I have any advice on placing a character in an environment for animation so it doesn't look like I just pasted it into the background? Yes, I do actually. One of the big things is, if you're rendering it with lighting and that sort of thing, lighting bounces, and so objects within a background, within a painting, will pick up color from other objects. Okay, so a lot of times your character should be picking up color from that environment, and when it does that, it'll start to feel like it's sitting correctly in the environment. So I need reference for a braid. I can't, for some reason my brain's not picking up on it.
Your brain going bye-bye?
My brain's going bye-bye. Braid. See, I don't leave anything to chance. I look at everything, even if it's something as simple as a braid. Oh, now I understand. I got it. I say I got it. I'm going to pull it up here anyway so you guys can see it. Where'd it go? There it is. There's the braid right there. It's that shape. I almost had it, but now I got it. Let me pull this over. It's really small.
What if the earrings in his ear were the numbered ear tags that farm animals have?
Oh, that's interesting. Like the tag itself?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that. I like it. All right, where am I? Am I here? Yes, that's where I'm at. Let me do this property. Final drawing. All right. All right, so I'm going to be here. We're going to have this come down. This is going to come down like so. And then this comes down like so. And this comes down like so.
So the person that that requested this drawing says, I want, from Iceland, he says, I want to say to Aaron that my grandmother's best friend did the voice for Tanana in Brother Bear.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Sue Copeland? Or Copeland. Her last name was Copeland.
Copeland?
Yeah. She's a Broadway actress. There we go. Getting it. I'm getting the pattern down now, baby. Watch out.
Do you know Richard Williams?
I don't know Richard Williams. I've never been able to meet him. I've always wanted to. I used to work with Richard Williams' son, Alex Williams. We worked in Florida together. But I've never met Richard Williams. There we go. So we've got the braid. Let's tie that sucker off.
It's a Zach Wild goat.
This is fun. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I got to go back to Nick. Sorry, Nick. I left you.
What the hell?
I know. Sorry. All right. YouTube question. Do I have any advice? Oh, God, I did that one. YouTube question. Could you reiterate how you were thinking about your perspective? Well, in this one, I'm not thinking a whole lot about perspective because there's not a whole lot of perspective to be had. But there is somewhat, and I'll show you where. Let me turn that off. So I've got a couple of things here. Let me do a layer over the top. Basically, my perspective is going this way and this way. So everything is going to be going kind of like this. There's my perspective like that as we look at the front of his face. So the horns are basically there. I got to bring this one up maybe a little higher. Or bring this one down a little bit. You know, the horns are basically there. The ears are they're okay. But they're going to be, you know, that's open for interpretation anyway. The nose is going to be, it's not symmetrical, so I'm not worried about the nose. But I'm always making sure that everything stays in perspective. These shoulders, I definitely want them, even though, you know, it's going to come out here. This one's, you know, there's a lot going on. So, I'm not too worried about it as long as it's, once again, I'm a big advocate or a big believer that if it looks right, it is right. And so in this case, I'm just trying to make sure that it looks right. Because this one's really busy. I mean, we're almost an hour into this and I'm still just doing the drawing. Usually I'm done with the drawing part of it.
Yeah, this is like a big experiment.
Yeah. Trying to get past. Yeah, and we'll get down to the necklace down here. I might skip the necklace just because, I don't know, I'll do it.
And Burke, the person that requested this from Iceland, says my grandmother's sister did the voice for the Icelandic version as well.
Cool. All right. Oh, Burke's getting some airtime today, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's see here. What is my canvas size? My canvas size today, I believe, is 18 by 24. Image.
That's kind of your standard, isn't it?
No, yeah, it's 18 by 24 inches at 300 dpi. So this thing's really big. This is actually bigger than what I usually do.
What's the size you use?
I usually go like 16 by 20 or 20 by 16.
Why the bigger size?
I just clicked on it. There.
Oh, that looks good. Do you Do you still sketch on paper and traditionally monsieur?
Of course. I definitely still draw on paper. I paint on paper, draw on paper. Yes, absolutely. For stuff like this, it's a lot easier to do something like this, like when we're doing a request day.
I can actually show the quick image of this with a new overhead.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
There's a watercolor that he did. How long ago was it? Like
A few weeks ago.
Yeah. We now have an official overhead of his desk. So in the future,
yeah,
we'll be able to do stuff.
And
like
Mike
this.
White, if Mike White is watching, Mike White, who got this painting, I'll be sending it to you very soon. Here's a Twitch question. I know you used to hire animators, so did you ever send potential candidates animation tests for them to do? And if so, what did you want to see? I asked because I received one and I'm working on it right now. Sometimes, first of all, I'm not a big advocate of sending tests to people. It's either, for me, the portfolio is either there or not. For people to do free tests, I think is kind of a lame way to do things. But it's a pretty standard practice now with studios. But usually, if someone's getting an animation test, I want to see how just that. I want to see your acting abilities. That's mainly why you would get an animation test, just to see what your acting abilities are. How expressive are you, and all that sort of thing. So, the good thing is, if they're sending you a test that tells them that, it should tell you that they're interested. You've definitely piqued their interest. So, push hard on it.
What is the most difficult piece you have done?
Oh, I don't know. I can't. I do literally hundreds of drawings and paintings a year. So none of them are easy. Some are just less hard, I guess, than others. But I don't know what the hardest one would have been. All right, I've got to move on. So let's get to local color. Let's make this guy a little bit blondish in his fur color.
What are the volume breaks or details you look for while you design a piece?
The volume breaks are when I'm designing a piece, I'm looking mainly. This one got a little bit away from me. There's a lot of competing detail in here. That's one of the first things I try to avoid. So I'm going to try to simplify it a little bit as I render it. But I look for the biggest thing I try to make sure things are uneven. I don't want evenly spaced features, evenly spaced proportions. That to me spells boredom. And so in this case, everything is a little bit even. So I want to be sure that I can kind of break things up a little bit through value and color. Like here, I'm getting some nice big open areas with his sheep color coming through. But I'm going to go a little bit whiter and a little grayer with his fur color. And here. And I'm just laying it. What I'm doing right now is I'm laying in local color. Local color is the color of, for those of you that have heard me say it a million times, I'll say it again, and for those of you that don't know, local color is the color of an object when it's not lit and it's not in shadow. It's just the color of an object. So in this case, we have a white sheep with various shades of white. Let's go a little maybe redder, a little more orange for that beard. Let's see what that looks like. You can ask me questions, Dustin, while I'm yapping.
Before you start working on a piece, do you still draw circles, straight lines, simple shapes to get warmed up?
I don't do that to get warmed up. I don't really do warm-up exercises anymore, no. But I'll use, I'll use simple shapes to construct whatever it is that I'm making. So I'm giving him this reddish beard, but I feel like it's too isolated. So I want to use some of that same color in other parts of the sheep. to unify it, make it feel like it belongs.
What's the average amount of time you will spend on painting before calling it a day? Say, for example, a bust portrait like this Viking sheep here.
This might take me 4 or 5 hours.
What was that?
I just choked a little bit. Give me a break, man. Oh, YouTube question. What do I think about people who say digital art is cheating? I say they're ignorant. They just, and when I say ignorant, I don't mean ignorant in a bad way. They just don't really know. I don't know that they know what they're talking about. From an ignorant standpoint, I guess. But no, I think most people that say digital art is cheating maybe haven't done digital art. Digital art to me, I don't know what cheating means, by the way. I have no idea what that means. I don't know what cheating means. You're creating art one way or the other, and by creating art with light pixels instead of pigment, it's still a medium. So to me, that just, it doesn't really tell me, I don't know what you're saying by saying it's cheating. And within the digital art world, people that say using photographic textures to create an image is cheating, I don't know what that means either. To me, it's you create your imagery any way you can and any way you want, and you have fun doing it. And if it's cool imagery and it moves people, then who cares how you got there? Is photography cheating? You know, it doesn't mean anything. So, to those people that say digital art is cheating, they just say you don't know what you're saying. You don't know what you don't know. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a kind of a metal color here, just to get. I'm just really throwing down color right now just to see what he might look like. And let's go brown. A little more brown, dark. Notice I'm keeping it really loose still, because when I render it, it's going to, I'm going to tighten up as I go. So I'm just keeping it really simple. Man, this is fun. I love this idea.
Are you planning to come to India anytime?
Yes, we are going to come to India at some point. I was in India a few years ago and I haven't been back, but there's a lot of people I want to see in India. Namely, I have some friends in India that create the most amazing art bags, and you guys have probably heard me talk about them before. Give me my art bag, Dustin.
This bag here?
Yeah. But my friends at Rajah, and Nick will put up a link to them. They make these handmade art bags. This is one that they made for me. It's a small one. I've got a couple of them. Can you see it? Is it good? So these are all handmade, and they're completely customizable. You can use any fabric, whatever you want to do, and you open it up. And I've got all my pens and pencils in here. A little higher, like there. Yep. All my pens and pencils are in there. It's got a great, and it's obviously it's very soft. Whoops. And lots of room inside. I carry my drawing pads, my watercolors. This bag has been to about 15 different countries over the last 2 years, and look, it's in perfect shape. There's pockets in the back, all handmade. And so my friends in India, Rajah, they make these, and if you're interested in them, look them up, because it's just an amazing bag. And so far I've bought like 4 from them. I really love them. And YouTube question. Hello. Do you do shading or lighting on different layers? Yes, I do shading and lighting on different layers. And I'm going to show you right now. As soon as I finish hitting all of my local color on here, which is what I'm doing local color. Am I on the right layer? Yes, I am. I'm going to go local color. Let me go to my other brush. There we go. Something a little more subtle. There we go.
Do you animate the shadow of the character along with the character's animation?
When we do the animation, when we at Disney when we did it, if we chose to have shadows and light, the animators, the character animators, mainly I was a character animator, did not animate that. We animated our characters moving, and then the effects animators came through and added shadows and what they called color steps, all of that, and that's what they did. So I'm just going to go through and clean this up just a little bit, taking care of some of that underdrawing, just to clean it up a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this. Whoops! I'm going to not that one. I'm going to lock my local color layer, and I want to hit just a little bit of darkness. There's our little dog. There he is, making noise, messing up the stream. There we go.
Is the goat wearing leather, or is it a bear hide?
I was thinking it was a bear hide, like a bear cirque. But it could be anything. I might go a little bit darker.
Do you feel like your painting process is still evolving?
Oh yeah, my painting process will evolve until I die. I'm positive. I'm sure of it. I'm going to add a little bit of darkness in here. Or maybe a little redness around his nose. Just a little bit. I'm going to do this. Let's see. Let me get rid of that. I'm going to knock the opacity down. Maybe just a little bit of redness around his schnoz. His schnozy. Maybe a little bit around his eyes.
Trying to get Achilles. Achilles!
My girlfriend Vedanta is outside trying to get the dog.
Achilles. Go.
All right, we're good. We're all right, Dustin and Vedanta. We're okay.
All right.
So this is fun. Right here, I'm going to put in color. Oh, I locked it. I got to unlock it. Now I can get some color in there. Yeah, that feels pretty good. I'm going to do the same thing with the ears too, I think.
Any tips on how to improve your acting skills as an animator?
Yes. In about 2 months, I'm going to be putting out a course on acting for animation. I'm actually working on that right now. But in the meantime, if you're looking for ways to improve your acting skills, look at actors that you admire. Go take improv classes. Any of that kind of thing will help you. When your dog barks, it freaks out my dogs. I imagine there are now hundreds of dogs all around the world barking because of this stream. You know what? I think that's kind of cool.
Woof, woof, woof.
Woof, woof. So I'm still playing with local color. Just having some fun. Getting a little specific with maybe the teeth. Once again, this is all just local color. I haven't done anything with that necklace. I got to do something with that. Let's go with I want it to be bronze-ish. So let's go with this color. And I'm going to go 100% opaque.
I may have missed it, but do you prefer to change the brush mode versus change the layer mode?
I usually change the layer mode, although at the end I'll change brush mode to burn things in and brighten them up, but I'm usually just changing the layer mode most of the time. Alright, so that's kind of cool. Let's give it a background. Let's go with a darker background. I'm going to just jump to that now. And let's make it cold. Let's make it like icy, cold gray.
I have two monitors that I use when I do my art. However, my image ends up looking different on each screen color-wise. Do you have a program you use to make sure your screen is calibrated and the color you're seeing is the true color you're using?
Well, the Cintiqs nowadays, I use a Cintiq, are very color accurate. And so I don't really worry about it too much. I look at it on how, I look at different platforms on where it comes up. Let's say I look at it on my phone. if I post something on Facebook, let's say, I'll look at it on my phone to see and if it's basically the same, which it usually is. You can see I'm lagging quite a bit because my canvas is so big. I'm actually going to shrink my canvas. It's lagging too much. I'm going to drop that down. I'll drop this down to 20. I don't cancel. I don't want to do canvas size. I want to do image size. I'm going to drop this down to 20. That gives that down to 15. Let's see how that works. That's going to take a little second. Question from YouTube. How odd was it to transition from very traditional stuff like charcoal to the new world of digital art? You know, it really, because I'm using a Cintiq, which is the pen display I draw right on the screen, to be honest with you, it really wasn't that big of a jump for me. The biggest jump was just learning the software. But once I understood the software, it really wasn't a bad leap for me, or jump. I was mixing leap and jump, so it came out as lump. Yeah. James Johnson. Hey, James Johnson. I think if it's the James Johnson I know from Ringling, asks, "Hey, Ron." Yes, it's definitely him. Can you talk a little bit about which of your traditional media techniques is most applicable to your digital techniques and why? I think acrylic painting and gouache painting are probably the closest, because I build up in opaque layers once I get going here. I think the beginning part is more like watercolor, because I'm working transparent with my overlays. With my blend modes, I set to multiply and overlay. That's more like watercolor kind of. Then it transitions more into an opaque medium like gouache or acrylic. But what I love about painting digitally is that I have that ability to do that. I can go and kind of use the different types of thinking from my experience using traditional media, and it's very forgiving, and it allows me to do that. So I think that's kind of fun and kind of cool.
I want to send you a sketch. Where can I send it once I finish it? I just want to show it to you.
We can that can be sent to support@creatureartteacher.com. I think that's where you can send something like that.
I don't have a screen.
So I've got something basically laid in, so that's kind of fun. So there's our Viking sheep. So now it's time to start laying in some light patterns. So I start with shadow first.
How are you painting in a locked layer?
Oh, I painted on a locked layer for the background, for the local. Was it local color? No. Yeah, I did have it locked, but I unlocked it. Usually, once I get the silhouette done, I'll lock it so I don't have to paint. I can vary the different colors here and there, and I lock it just so I don't go outside the edges. So let me see here. I am going to jump up here. I'm going to go shadows.
Did you go see Alpha, and what did you think of it?
I saw Alpha last night, and I loved it. If there's a movie that was made for me, for Aaron Blaise, it was Alpha. I love that movie.
And the person that asked that is looking forward to seeing himself.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to grab a cool color for the shadows. I've set my blend mode to multiply. This is the same way I do it on everything. My lighting I'm going to have coming from the right, sort of like I did on the cicada character, up from the upper right behind me, coming down. So I'm going to go a little darker on that shadow. So it's casting a shadow like here. It'll cast a shadow across his eye. His ear is going to roll into shadow. It's going to cast a shadow like this inside his ear. This is going to cast a shadow on the fur, which I can get better later. Twitch question: do you think illustration has room in the more industrial fields of graphic design? Of course, I think it. I think it still does, and so I think it's all they all go hand in hand with each other. I don't think that one is without the other. I mean, you can do graphic design obviously without illustration, but it's all design, right? And illustration is still part of the graphic design world. It always will be. So I'm going to hit all of these. Let me blow this up a little bit so you can see a little better.
Regular RGB screens don't seem to be able to show deep, saturated greens and certain violets. Is the Cintiq any different in this respect?
You know what? As far as I'm concerned, I've never had any issue with any of that, but I've never tried to do super saturated violets, or I've had some pretty saturated greens with some of the stuff that I do, so maybe so. But I haven't had any color problems with my Cintiq at all.
Will you consider?
So there's a shadow there. Go ahead. Sorry, Dustin.
No worries. Will you consider taking candidates for working on your short? Could it be overseas?
Right now, we're not taking any candidates just because of our budgetary issues, and just the difficulty of working with other people, from a distance. But down the road, I know we're going to be doing some more projects, and there's definitely room somewhere down the road, depending on how we do, as far as getting other people in to work on some of our other projects that we have in the works. So not this time around, but maybe in the future.
Somebody recommends, how about a stormy background with lightning?
Ooh, I might do that.
Lightning.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I was wondering, would you ever consider...
Were you wondering?
What?
Huh?
What?
Go ahead.
Would you ever consider illustrating a series of children's books, or is that out of the question?
No, nothing's out of the question. I try to stick with original material of my own or our own. I don't usually like to use other people's material, but if there's something really cool that came along, when I was developing King of the Elves, that was Philip K. Dick. That wasn't my own material, but it was such a great story I couldn't resist. So you never know. YouTube question: would you ever go back to working with an animation studio, or do you plan on teaching and working on your own stuff from here on out? As far as it goes now, I do not plan on going back to a studio. If something came along that I couldn't resist, an opportunity, maybe. But right now, I'm happier now working independently and teaching and passing on this knowledge that I have. I'm happier now doing that than I've ever been in my entire career. And that's even when I was working at Disney. I loved working at Disney, don't get me wrong, but there's something so much more satisfying doing what I'm doing and sharing it and having you guys respond, and people, the emails that we get constantly of people thanking us, and that they're learning, and that to me, that's the most fulfilled I've felt in years and years, and it's something I think, I'm happy to do it, and so yeah, I'm not gonna stop doing that anytime soon.
Where can I find this brush that you use for your sketching?
This brush is available on our website. Actually, if you sign up for our newsletter, you get the brush for free. Or if you want to buy the whole set, it's a $5 set, and it's our original brush. Nick will put the link up. I'm not sure. Is that a Facebook question?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, on Facebook, and it's from our original custom set, and this is brush number 7.
And where's it at?
On Creature Art Teacher, my website, creatureartteacher.com. So I'm just adding shadows in here. I'm going to knock this back a little bit. Getting down in here, adding shadows. So I'm going very loosely, very quickly. All right, other side of there. Oops. The underside of his chin would go into shadow, And also cast a shadow like that.
Any advice for making a creature modeling and animation showreel really stand out?
You know what? The best way you can get your stuff to stand out is to, first of all, put the best work you have. Don't put, one of the things I always say is don't put, especially if you're someone new right out of college, don't put your first walk cycles in there, which a lot of people do. Don't put your first year stuff in there. Put the stuff that can compete in the market. That's what they're looking for. They want to see whoever's looking at your portfolio. They want to see how you compete with everybody else. And so, and if you don't have it, then you might need to take some time to pull that stuff together. And just make sure you don't put too much in, and pick only the best. And if your stuff isn't super great, if you see like, oh, maybe it needs a little bit more work, then take the time to do that extra work and do it, because you might not get a second chance.
Do you usually blend your line into the painting?
Yes. As we go, I'm gonna get rid of this line, and the line will eventually disappear. But right now, it's just kind of holding it all together.
Do you find it easier to sketch on paper or digitally?
Either one. One isn't any better than the other, for me.
What is puppet in animation?
What is puppet in puppet animation?
Puppet animation.
Puppet animation is another. For me, it's another name for stop motion animation. So it's using puppets basically that you can move around as an armature and pose them. And let me find this again. You can pose them and take a picture, move them a little bit, take a picture, move them a little bit, take a picture, and that's how you can create your animation. YouTube question: how to get better with colors, like choosing the right ones? You got to paint from life. The way you get better with color always is you just gotta. Well, first of all, we have a course on our website on color theory, and that will help a lot. My friend Ronnie Williford, who's an amazing painter, put the course together for us, and it's everything he knows about color theory, color temperature, color opposite colors, color analogous colors, triadic colors, all that kind of stuff. He put together for our course, and it really is really thorough, and it's really helpful. The other thing you can do, like I was saying, is paint from life, and just get out there and look at how color, how is color affected by light? How is color affected by shadow? How is color affected by other color? There's a lot to look at, and you just have to dive in and start doing it. Nick says there's also digital puppet animation. It's sort of like moving rigs. Yes. So digital puppet animation is like, it's the same thing. Basically, it's the same idea as stop motion animation, but it's done with virtual rigs, and you move them around just like you would a real puppet. And so there is that. There we go.
Do you find it easier to sketch on? Oh, I already asked.
Yeah. At least you caught yourself. So we're getting there. This is getting really busy, but I'm having fun with it. I'm trying to stay really loose.
Did you ever work for National Geographic?
I never did, man. That's the biggest. That's one thing I would take that job if someone offered me like a cover, a freelance, because I'm not really doing any freelance right now. But if National Geographic came along and said, "Hey man," and they would say that too, "Hey man, we'd love for you to do such and such illustration for us," man, I would be on that in a heartbeat. It is my dream to do something for National Geographic. My absolute dream. So I'm just hitting a few details in here. Here. That's my gym teacher. He always used to say, "Get on over here. Get on here." My gym teacher in South Florida. I can't remember his name. Get on over here.
It's my saying, "Hey, Hey man, like that's how National Geographic was speaking. I instantly started thinking Matthew McConaughey. Like, hey man, how you doing?
All right.
I'm the CEO of National Geographic, man. We'd really like for you to do a job for us.
That was pretty good. I like that one. That was really good. You're your biggest fan, man.
I am. I love it.
All right. It's a good opportunity for you to take your shirt off.
I'm a Schottenberg guy. I think that'd be a good opportunity for me to take my shirt off.
All right, let's see. Let's get nice and dark. There we go. I'm still just going really loose. This is going to get loose. You know what? Since this is a Viking, I know I do this every time, but I really think this time it really lends itself, and it's going to simplify all of this. I'm doing my crutch. I know I do it every time, so don't get mad at me, guys. But I'm doing my shadow going across the character crutch.
What the hell?
I know. I do this every time. Get creative, why don't you?
99% of the time, it works.
Every 60% of the time, it works every time. All right, so I'm going to put all this hill in shadow.
Question.
Yeah?
When I start painting over my sketch, it loses a lot of texture, character essence that the sketch has. How do I avoid this and translate the feel from sketch to the paint?
You know, you see how I'm painting right now? I'm staying very loose, and that's a key. Try to stay loose and only tighten up where you need to. You know, the whole painting doesn't have to be super tight, and that's where you're gonna, when you tighten up in areas, that's where you risk losing the life of your painting. And so I think that works better. I definitely think that works better. I know I do this all the time, but I just think it works better. So I'm going to put a new layer, and that's going to be my light layer.
Is this Thor's goat?
Yes, this is Thor's goat. Overlay. All right, so let's get in here. I'm running out of time, baby. Running out of time. I ain't got time for that.
I bid you farewell and good luck, Boros.
That's right. Ain't nobody got time for that. Let's see here. So now I'm going to paint in some highlighted areas. And this is, once again, this is a new layer on top, and I've got it set to overlay. So it's brightening up areas. In the same way that multiply darkens, it multiplies with the layers underneath and therefore darkens. This just kind of grabs pigment from all the layers as well and just brightens it up. Not as well, but I mean it brightens it up.
Somebody says love the back and forth between you both. It makes me laugh. Yeah, we're kind of a comedic duo.
All right.
Yeah, so he says that your shadow ideas is always that Aaron's signature.
I know, and I hate it when people go, "Oh, that's Aaron."
That's Aaron.
Yeah, if it's the same, this one I couldn't resist. But I do love playing with light and shadow, and so sometimes I like to create shadows just to create them. Oh, I got a whole bunch of questions up here. Do I have any tutorials on realistic skin tone? I don't, and that's a really great idea. I'm going to take that to heart and come up with something. I like that idea. YouTube question. I want to be a creature concept artist, but it seems like employers look for anything but creatures. Should I include character, vehicle designs, etc. in my portfolio to increase my marketability? Well, I think there are places that do it just depends on who are you interviewing with. If you're interviewing with someone that doesn't do creatures, then yeah, maybe you have the wrong stuff in your portfolio. But if you're going to someone like Digital Domain, who's still around, or Weta's another one that, they do a lot of creature stuff. I'm not sure of all the smaller studios, but to me, you have to gear your portfolio to who you're interviewing with, and if the studio that you're interviewing with is more environmental or prop directed, then yeah, you might want to rethink what it is that you're putting in there. But if you want to be a creature designer, go with studios that are doing creatures. That's the best piece of advice I can give you.
So I figured out why you're doing a Viking sheep today.
Why?
Because it's Thursday.
That's very good. I like it.
And that was said by Catherine Nunez.
Yes. It's Thursday.
And also somebody else says, Bob Ross, huge trees over his finished painting. Aaron, huge shadow over his painting.
Yeah. Well, I like being compared to Bob Ross. I do. He's my hero. Brought art to the masses, baby.
Yeah. Do you have any tutorials on realistic skin tone?
I just read that one. I just had that one up here.
Oh.
And no, I don't. But I'm going to go ahead and take that to heart, and I'm going to try to get something going like that. Fun fact: Thursday really is named after Thor.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
All right. So we basically have our light in here. We don't have it on the horn yet.
Were you always more focused on creatures, or did that come about during Lion King?
No, I've always been focused on animals and creatures. Always. My whole life. My whole life.
Yep, everyone has their own subject of art. Like me, I always like drawing sci-fi stuff, or anything mechanical. Robots, cars, spaceships.
I went through a sci-fi phase when I was younger. I still I really appreciate looking at it. But I just don't do it anymore. YouTube question: would I ever do a stream where I suggest a subject to the audience, and I draw along, and at the end we submit to you in the different mediums? That is a capital idea.
What is the capital idea?
That I suggest something and everyone else draws with me, and then they send in the imagery.
Ooh.
I love that idea. Yes. Nick and I are going to work on that. Nick, we need to figure out how to do that, because I think that's a cool idea.
And I know just how to do it, and I can explain it to you guys a bit later.
Okay. All right. Alrighty then.
Do you paint mid-tones, or does the local color do the job of mid-tones?
Yeah, the local color for me does the job of mid-tones. Good question. That's a really good question. No, for me, the mid-tone is my local color. So you can see I'm starting, by using my shadow and light rendering, I'm breaking up that fur, and then I can go in and start rendering using what I've kind of thrown in here. So now that I've got, maybe I'll put a little bit, maybe I'll put a little bit of light right along here. It's not really in the direct light source, but I want to round this out a little bit. Get a little bit lighter up top. Do the same thing here.
I just bought your monthly offer. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank you for buying it.
And about the story course, is it a bit different for short film?
Say that again. About what?
The story course.
Story course. I thought you kept saying historic course. I don't know anything about a historic course. The story course. I'm sorry. What was the whole question? No, the story course
is it a bit different for the short film?
No, I don't think it is. No, the story course applies to everything. Like I'm doing a short film now, the structure is still the same. There's still a first, second, third act. I break up the second act into two pieces, so I have a first part and a second part of the second act. I have the low part. I have the inciting incident. I have the conclusion. All that structure that you would have in a full-length feature film, I have in an 8-minute short that I'm creating. YouTube question: would I ever do a stream where I say, "Oh, it's the same thing"? Nick, you left it up there. I don't blame Nick. I blame myself because I didn't check it ahead of time. So I like to turn things around like this just to see it from a different light, and I'm actually really digging this. Whoever suggested this, I just really love this idea. So I'm going through right now and just adding a little bit of highlights. Let's do it. No, let's do it here. I'm going to erase those.
Go
ahead.
Do you usually use the same hue for the highlights and the same hue for the shadows, or do you vary to warmer end color hues?
It depends on. It really depends on what I'm creating. But a lot of times, like I'm doing a character thing like this, my lighting, temperature, and all that tends to be the same, unless there's a special case. So in that case, I use the same highlight color and the same shadow color. But when I'm doing something more specialized, then it really is determined by the environment. So here I'm being very loose, just scribbling in some areas just to get some texture in this fur. There we go. All right, no, looking at the same one. Image, rotation, horizontal. Okay, so there's our Viking sheep, kind of roughly laid out. I'm going to go ahead and before I start rendering, I'm going to add that secondary light like I always do, because that really adds the secondary rim light. Secondary rim light. That always adds a nice dimension to it, and I think this will add a nice sense of drama, especially if we add some lightning to it, which I think we will in the background. Make it nice and cold blue light. And what I'm thinking is, and I'm going to go right over the top of the drawing layer and bring up that opacity. I'm just thinking about this light off in the distance, off to the screen left, and it's slightly behind him, so it's going to create a little bit of rim. I'm going to cheat a little bit, but it's creating a little bit of rim light on our character here. And what that tends to do, it adds a little drama to the imagery. I do this on a lot of my pieces, as you guys, if you follow me, you know. I do this a lot. And there usually is secondary lighting on most things we look at. There we go. Just getting a little thing there. How you doing over there, Quiet Smokey?
Doing good. Just trying to host you on my Twitch channel.
Ah. We missing questions? Just make sure we're not missing questions. There we go.
Is high pen pressure an advantage in tablets?
The high sensitivity to pen pressure is, if that's what you're asking, is definitely an advantage. And one of the great things about the new Cintiqs coming out, like right now, the pen that I have has 2100 levels of sensitivity to it, which is great. I've used this for years and years, and it's awesome. But their new pens, that are coming out, that Wacom's putting out, are going to have 8,000 levels of sensitivity. 8,000. That's mind-boggling to me. So it's going to feel more like a real pencil. The other thing, too, is that there's going to be no parallax between the tip and the cursor. Right now, there's that little bit of a gap because of the glass. And the new one will have no gap. So it looks like you're drawing directly on the surface, which is, again, I don't know how they do it. It's like it's wizardry. So you can see I'm adding this this secondary light, and it just adds a nice dimension to the character as far as the lighting goes. A Viking goat. I love the idea of a Viking goat.
Yeah, somebody says that Thursday was Thor Day, but also Wednesday is for Odin.
Oh.
Interesting.
My. Oh my.
Do you ever use Corel Painter, and what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I love Corel Painter. Yep. I've done quite a few pieces in Corel Painter. There's a piece that's floating around that I did of a lion zebra hybrid, and I painted that in Corel Painter. There we go. There. I got to get up here and get the horn going. It's going to be highly reflective, so I want to make sure I get this lighting in here nice and strong. Maybe a little bit of grain in there, so a couple pieces will be some extra pieces showing like that. Maybe a couple little chips in the horn. There we go. There we go. Over here. How we doing, Dustin?
Doing good. Sorry, I had to set up the host for the Twitch channel. Who's your favorite of the 9 old men and why?
I don't have a favorite because they're all just equally amazing. I think Milt Kahl could draw like nobody's business. The charm and just amazing character that Frank and Ollie put into their animation was just amazing. You know, I guess those three were probably my favorite of everybody. But yeah, I mean, just all of those guys were just incredible animators, and they blew my mind.
What do you think of the trailer and style of How to Train Your Dragon 3?
I haven't seen it.
Has that movie come out?
I haven't seen the trailer, is what I'm saying.
Oh, the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trailer looks good.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah, unless if they've done a new one like the past few days. Then no, I haven't seen the latest one. While at Disney, were you always completing scenes by the deadlines, or did you ever get behind and succumb to stress?
I never succumbed to stress. I would say 99% of the time I hit my deadline. It's not hard to hit your deadline if you just sit at your desk and animate. I rarely ever missed my deadline, and most of the time I would get an extra shot by the end of the week. There was a few times I missed my deadline. Maybe I miscalculated on how long something would take, or we'd change it for story reasons or something. But most of the time I hit my deadlines. I pride myself on that because it's important to hit, and help get this movie done on time. Otherwise it costs it can go into the millions of dollars in overages in trying to get a film done.
So I'm kind of new to Photoshop and have your brush, and every now and then the line becomes really thick even with the slightest pressure. Do you know of any solutions to stop this?
It's usually your pressure sensitivity button up in the the very top. It looks like a little target with a pencil in it. That's your pressure sensitivity. Try pushing that on or off. Because of if I have that off, I gotta make sure I have this set up right. If I have that off, there. If I have that and I'm trying to make a small, as you can see, it's just a big line. But if I have that on, I can control the pressure, and you can see I can make it big or small like that. So that's your pressure sensitivity. Make sure that's on the right setting.
Why do you paint rim light only in blue color?
I don't always just paint it in blue color. I'm doing blue color because my light area is warm right now, and so I'm just trying to go the opposite. Plus, I'm anticipating doing a lightning flash, which will be kind of cold blue light. So that's the only reason really I'm doing that. Let's do this. I'm going to knock the final drawing back. We might go a little bit longer than 2 hours today, but you can see when I knock that back, you can see where I really need to start putting some color or some darks in, and because the drawing really holds it together. If I turn it off completely, you can see that there's a lot of rendering in there that needs to be done. So I'm going to turn that on, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a layer, I'm going to put this layer right here. I'm going to set that to multiply, and what I do usually in that case is I'm going to go to a kind of a blue, well, let's go warm. I'm going to go warm with it, somewhat dark, and somewhat grayed down. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and start hitting the areas where the drawing was really holding it together, but I want that drawing layer to go away. So now I'm focusing more on painting all my darkest values in now. And these are going to be areas like inside the nose here. And maybe, there'll be an area, and there might be a little, I'm going to knock that opacity down. There might be an area in the crease underneath the nose. Like so. Maybe along the top. Might have a little bit of a something going on there.
So what's the difference between Photoshop painting and other painting softwares like Clip Studio, Corel Painter, etc.?
It's all basically the same. It's just the software varies and the interface and all that. But what they do is basically the same. They all have their different. Like Corel Painter is more geared towards people that want a more traditional medium look to their work. So they mimic, let's say, pastel, or they mimic oil, or they mimic watercolor. They're all meant to do that. Let me bring this up a little bit. But they're all it's all digital painting. It's it's the interfaces that are different.
What would you think of putting a lightning bolt in the background?
Yes, that's what I'm going to do. That's why I painted the blue light in. I am putting a lightning bolt in there.
Any possibility in making your sketch brush in Procreate?
Yes, I will do that. Great idea. I'll start with that one. We have been meaning to start doing a lot more brushes in Procreate. I haven't gotten around to it just because of everything else that we have going on.
I'm currently 28 years old and starting with digital painting right now. Am I starting too late? How much time is it necessary to become good at it?
Well, first of all, don't be impatient. I get that question a lot. How long does it take to get good at something? I hate that question, and I'm not bagging on you, but art is something that just takes time, and we live in this generation now where everybody wants that instant satisfaction, but you can't get it. You just can't get it with art. You just have to take your time and let it happen. Now, as far as digital art, learning the software, you can probably pick something up and get to the point where you're painting relatively quickly, within a day or two, probably. But painting itself, art itself, It's one of those things that just is going to take time, and you just have to be willing to take the ride and really love what you're doing. And it's not going to happen right away. It's just not. I've been drawing and painting for 40 years, actually, for longer than that, 45 years. Actively learning and, taking classes and trying to better myself. I've been doing that for 45 years. And it's just, and I'm still learning. And so you just have to be willing to take the ride and know it's not too late. It's never too late. If you enjoy it, then that's all you need to know, right? If you enjoy what you're doing, then that's all you need to worry about. YouTube question. IMDb lists you as working on the Rugrats movie. I know. I don't know why. What? Is that true? No, I'm not working on the Rugrats movie. I don't know why that's there. I have no idea. I got to get that off of there.
There must be a different Aaron Blaise out there.
So you can see now by going in, I can get a lot more sensitive with where I put my darks for the imagery.
This dark pass is not just drawing a cleaner line, correct? Is it more of a deep shadow pass?
I'm doing a deep shadow pass, exactly. But a lot of times that deep shadow is defining really deep, rich darks that kind of almost are making a line.
Have you ever used vector-based programs for characters and animals, like Adobe Illustrator?
I never have. I have a hard time with vector-based programs because the drawing feels weird to me.
Would you maybe do another demo with charcoal and kneaded eraser?
I definitely will. Matter of fact, that might be the next one I do next Tuesday. Now that we have our down shooter set up on the desk, I might do that with charcoal next week. How would that sound, Dustin? You would do it?
Yeah.
Let's do it, man. Mang?
I'm sure we can do it, man.
Mang?
Man.
So I'm going to jump back and forth. I got that layer, and I'm going to do a highlight layer.
Your deep shadow color isn't a true black, though, correct?
No, it's not true black. I never use true black.
What is the golden ratio, and how can we implement it on a drawing?
The golden ratio has to do with a certain proportion to the composition, and I can't remember what it is right now. Nick can probably remember what it is. But it has to do with, basically those proportions and how where everything falls within the. It says that Travis worked on Rugrats too. Yeah, my brother Travis, he didn't work on Rugrats. But anyway, that's the golden ratio is that, and I can't remember what that ratio is offhand. A little highlight there.
When you do your deep shadows, how do you pick the colors? I have trouble picking the right color and only get it after a lot of trial and error.
I usually will go with a cool. In this case, I did go purposely with a little bit of a warm color, but I try to keep my shadows cool, and so that's in the blue range. And right now, I'm hitting little highlights. But try thinking about it as temperature rather than just a straight color. Trying to figure out the color. Try to figure out what temperature color do you want to put down in your shadows. And generally, I try to keep shadows cool.
Will you do some acrylic or watercolor painting in one of your next live streams?
Yes, I just did a watercolor painting a couple weeks ago, and I'll do more because people tended to like that, so I'll do some more. coming up, and definitely I'm going to be doing some acrylic. I'm going to be creating acrylic courses as well for my website, creatureartteacher.com.
Did you work on Brother Bear 2?
I did not work on Brother Bear 2. No, that was done after I left. So here I'm just going through and really hitting highlights on different areas of the render.
So will you do some acrylic or watercolor paintings on one of the next live streams?
Nice.
We kind of ran out of questions. How did you come up with the cut scene in Brother Bear with the wall of ice where they laugh and the most awesome bear shows up? Was it afterwards the movie was done, or did someone at the team just think it could be fun?
We were trying to come up with credit gags when we did that, and that was a gag that someone in the team came up with. I can't remember who came up with it, and so that's how it got in there. It was just that simple. Yeah, I really like that gag a lot too.
Because it makes sense, because you're always looking at something silly because your shapes are so out of proportion.
Yeah.
Reflection, but then the guy that walks up that looks perfectly fine in the mirror.
Yeah.
He thinks it's funny, but everyone else looks at him like, what is wrong with you?
It's giving the audience what they, you set up a pattern of expectation, and then you do the opposite. Yeah.
Curveball. You mentioned keeping shadows cool. If, let's say, you were drawing a creature that exhibited flames or glowed red, would you keep the shadows cool or add more of a warmer touch to them?
Well, you can have shadows that are warm, but they'll be cool in comparison to the light areas, and so that's mainly what I'm talking about. Unless it's being lit with cold light, like fluorescent lighting and that sort of thing, your shadows are generally cooler than your light areas. Cool in comparison. YouTube question from Fabio to George Clooney, hair on point. Yes, thank you very much. Twitch question, what's an in-betweener or an in-between artist? An in-betweener, it's their job to do the drawings that fall between the key drawings. They are literally doing the in-between drawings between the keys and the breakdowns. And it's those drawings that they'll fill out the animation and give it its smoothness and its fluidity. So an in-betweener is very important in the process. And it's their job to add that fluidity to the animation.
Are you going to pull in picture textures on this piece or just go freehand?
I'm just going freehand right now, although I might, maybe I'll pull in some textures down the road, but I'm kind of having fun just doing it like this. What do you think, Dustin?
I kind of like it this way.
I do too. I like the sketchiness of it. I'm going to go okay right there. I'm going to go down to our local color, and I want to paint in these earrings.
Plus, I think the highlighted parts of the fur in the face and the fur around the neck, I think that adds just enough sketchy texture.
Yeah. Sketchita texture. Sketchita.
Did you enjoy the animation style of The Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea?
Yes. Very much so. Yes.
Yes, very much. How do you remember how light reacts to and bounces off certain textures? Do you need reference often?
So if it's an unfamiliar texture or unfamiliar lighting, I will. But I've just been doing it for so long. I really think about, and I've drawn stuff from life so much that I can tend to do it out of my head just because of experience. But it takes a while.
Do you see the full color render after your sketch, or as you go after your local color. Wondering if you color script in your head.
I kind of color script in my head. So I don't see it all right away. I kind of have an idea of where I want it to go. But I kind of do it all in my head. Like right now, I need to go back and I need to get back in there and start hitting some of my darks again. So I'm going to go back to Deep Shadows. Deep Shadows by Jack Handy? Was it Jack Handy? Deep Thoughts. Can't remember. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
No. I have no idea what you're talking about.
That was the Saturday Night Live thing.
Have you seen The Breadwinner?
I haven't seen it. I know I should see it, but I haven't seen it yet.
What is Breadwinner?
It's an animated film about the Taliban, about a girl in Afghanistan, I believe.
Oh.
And the Taliban, and yeah,
I've never seen the commercials for that.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to see that at some point. What got you into drawing human-like creatures?
Just coolness. Yeah. This one today was just purely suggestion. Right now what I'm doing is I'm painting in kind of negative space shadows.
So if there was a book that you would like to see as an animated film, what book would it be?
Oh boy. Boy, that's a good question. What book would it be?
That is a good question.
I don't know. Let me think on that. I don't know.
Take your time.
We'll be here. So I'm painting in negative spaces right now. I'm getting a little bit repetitive with it. It's not quite looking right. I'm going to back off of it a little bit. I'm going to pull some of those back out. Man, I can't get subtle on my eraser. Where's my eraser? I had to turn that on. There we go.
The movie Brother Bear, were the backgrounds painted digitally or traditionally?
Say that one more time.
How were the backgrounds in Brother Bear painted? Digital or traditional?
Traditional. A few of them were painted digitally, but most of them were painted traditional. So I'm going in here and just pushing some of these shadows. Boy, I got a Viking sheep. This is kind of fun. Pushing that shadow in the other ear deeper, darker. One thing I want to do on that highlight, is that the highlight? Yeah, there's the highlight layer. I'm going to just put a layer just between the two. I want to grab a little bit of sky color right there. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to knock that back a little bit. I want to make sure this is turned off. And I want to reflect the sky in his eye. Might be too much. I'm going to pull that back just a bit. There we go.
Ready for another question?
Sure.
What is the next big traditional project or series of projects you have planned? I love all your art, but your traditional work is my favorite.
Oh, thank you. Right now we're working on Snow Bear. And that's the animated short that we're working on about a polar bear living in the north that can't find a friend. And therefore he makes a friend. He makes a snow bear.
And as far as project courses go, currently work on the...
and currently I'm working on the acting for animation course. Thank you, Dustin.
Welcome.
So that's what we're working on right now.
And have you been drawing in your sketchbook lately?
You know what? I have not been drawing in my sketchbook lately. I've been neglecting my sketchbook. I've been sitting and drawing at my desk almost every day and have completely neglected my sketchbook. So I need to get back to it. And thank you for the reminder, whoever sent that to me, because I really do need to get back in there.
Oh, so the movie Breadwinner is on Netflix.
Yes.
I thought I saw that.
Yeah, I knew it was there. I just haven't watched it yet. So I'm going to get in here and just define this beard a little bit. So what if you haven't quite figured out what I'm doing, I ping pong back and forth between my darks and my lights. I go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, so that I can see them balanced. The goal is to see everything balanced.
And so he says, I would make Lord of the Flies as an animated feature.
Wow, that's dark.
That is dark. What was that one dark animated feature like that had to do with like the rabbit?
Watership Down?
Was it?
Watership Down, the rabbits?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about the rabbits, George.
I've seen some clips of that and it gets dark.
Oh, it's super dark, yeah.
Have you ever worked with Jim Lee?
I have not. So I'm rendering this fur out. This furry, woolly fur on the sheep. It's going to take a little while to get that looking right. But I might just go longer than 2 hours today. We're just gonna wing it. People want to stick around, they can stick around. We'll just go a little bit long today, make it a marathon. How's that, Dustin?
Okay.
Dustin's going, damn it, I'll go home, man. You're still on the clock anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shoot. Question. How do you come up with the transformation sequence in Brother Bear? It's one of my favorites. Oh, and the sheep's eyelashes should curl down, right? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to... Maybe on real sheep they do that, but I don't know if I'll do that. But the way we came up with the transformation sequence was... We knew we wanted a big spectacle, and we wanted it to have something to do with the Northern Lights, because that's where the ancestors are. But the visuals, we weren't quite sure what to do. And so we had this amazing visual development artist by the name of Richie Chavez. And Richie was just incredible. And so Bob Walker and myself, Bob was my co-director, we did the movie together, and Chuck Williams produced. Bob Walker and I went to Richie Chavez and said, hey, this is the story. We pitched him the beat of the transformation, why it was happening, what was happening, who's in it, the spectacle of it all. And we asked him to go away for several weeks and just see what he came up with. And so he created some amazingly beautiful pastel images. And we just knew right away, okay, he nailed it. And so then it was just a matter of getting everything laid out according to his drawings. He did hundreds and hundreds of these beautiful pastels that told the story of the transformation. And then we started using that as our basis for the rest of, for what made it into the film. And when you see the film itself, when you see that, it's not too far off of what Richie did. It's pretty close. Richie Chavez is pretty genius. Genius.
How'd you convince Disney to let you move to the director's chair? And you just earned so much cred that, as an animator, that you had enough of the studio's ear to put forth your awesome concept?
That... not quite like that, but there was a little bit of that. But my thing was, as I was finishing up on Mulan, and I had a lot of experience as a supervisor. As we were finishing up on Mulan, I found out about a project that they had in development called Bears. And as soon as I found out there was a project called Bears, my ears just went, I just perked right up, and I wanted to work on it. And so that... Let me go back to the highlights. I started emailing the heads of the studio, trying to get more information on it and expressing to them that I would love to work on the film in some capacity or another. They all knew that I was, kind of the animal guy in the studio. And I had just gotten back from Alaska, so I sent them some imagery of the paintings that I did. And so after just bombarding them, Tom Schumacher, who was the head of the studio at the time, came back to me, had a meeting with me, and he asked me why I was so interested, and I explained to him why. And so it was in that moment that he asked me, he says, "Hey, have you ever thought about directing?" And then I was really blown away by it. I hadn't really thought about it, and I wasn't expecting that question. But Pam Coates, who was our producer for Mulan, was a really big cheerleader of mine, and I owe her a lot. She's a great friend of mine. She's a wonderful woman, and she was the one that recommended that they give me the break. And so I went, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but I thought about it long and hard and decided, if I don't do this, then I'll always regret that. I'll always wonder what if. It's kind of my fear. And so I decided to go ahead and try it. And it was difficult. It was really hard. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I'm glad I did it. And that's how I ended up doing that. It was from years of working as a supervisor and working with a crew. But eventually, I got my own role as a director.
Very important question here.
Yeah.
Did you save?
Oh, no. Thanks. Would I ever do a character design of a Paleolithic creature? Sure, I would love to do that. Viking goat.
Huh.
There it is.
Your webcam froze.
Mine did?
Yeah. Oh, it's back.
Okay, thank you.
That was weird.
That was weird. So I'm just going through right now and hitting some highlights.
Your pose was like...
So I'm just going through and hitting.
Do you think the most recent Disney movies have reached the level of Disney's animation renaissance period in the 90s?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of great people. I think we're going to surpass what we were doing in the 90s. I think Disney's taking a little bit more risk. I love what they're doing. And Pixar.
What's your favorite 3D animated film?
I think I'll do The Fur Like That. My favorite 3D animated film. That's a hard one to say.
There's like Moana, Zootopia.
I think Zootopia is one of my favorites for sure.
Because of all the animals.
Yeah, I just love that. I love the world that they created. And I'm a big fan of Byron Howard.
Will you be meeting Proco again?
Yes. We are going to be meeting up, hopefully, this coming November. And we'll do something again. We'll try to get down to San Francisco. He's a busy guy. So Nick and I and Dustin and Steve will try to make it down to San Francisco, or not San Diego, and do something down there with Proco again.
Better get down to San Francisco. Don't forget to put
flowers in her hair. Idiot. There we go.
What advice do you have for animators working on fast TV shows who have a lot of quota to produce every week, but also want to produce good quality animation?
Well,
how do you balance time and quality?
That's exactly it. You have to, you know what? Not everything can be a beautiful work of art. And you got to remember you're creating a product, and at the end of the day that you have to get it out the door. If you want to create masterpieces, go home and sit at your easel or sit at your desk and do it there. And I know that's a kind of a hard line thing to say, but you have to. It just depends on the job that you're at. If you're not sitting at a feature studio that has a budget of $200 million and they allow you to do it over and over again, then you got to really, you got to get that stuff out. That's just the nature of the beast. I've been in that position, and that's just how it is. And it's tough. It is tough. But there's other ways to get that quality outlet that you're looking for, and you can go home and you can do it on your own. And that's what I tried to do. That I did a lot of painting at home, and now I'm doing my own animation. Trying to do that. This is almost there. We're getting very close.
How do you approach writing for TV series? Is the structure very different from the 3-act structure of a feature film or a short film?
Well, I don't think the individual episode structure is not that different, but you got to remember you're writing for a season, and that's going to be different. So, yeah, it's kind of a whole different ball game for that kind of stuff. And for me, it's all about, when you're thinking about that, it's about the long form. That's the biggest difference. But your individual episodes have the same structure.
Any chance you can explain the brush settings? For example, I noticed you turned off brush dynamics every now and again.
Every once in a while, I do, because I want a flat image, and other times I want, or a flat brush stroke, and other times I want a more sharp brush stroke, and so I'll turn it back on, or more detailed. So it really just comes down to whatever my need is. So I'm getting kind of close on this. I know how long are we into this? We're at 2.5, 2 hours, and whoo boy, this is a long one. All right, I'm going to kind of rush through this a little bit. I'm really hitting highlights right now on the fur.
Oliver Scott says, we need to bring back traditional hand-drawn animation. 3D is amazing, but I still love traditional.
Oh, there's no argument for me. I really think it needs to come back, just at least as another medium, not to replace, because 3D is awesome. 3D is a great medium in itself as well. But for 2D to go away, I think is just really sad. And, it's like, digital drawing and painting has not replaced traditional, which is, I just don't think that, we need to give up. We don't need to give up on traditional animation. And so we're trying to do our part, Nick and I and Dustin, by creating Snow Bear. We're definitely going to do our part there.
It's going to be very interesting.
So here I'm doing really spontaneous with the fur here.
I got very intrigued. Could you draw yourself as a bear or a big cat in the future?
In the future, I probably could. That would have been kind of a funny request, wouldn't have?
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the next live streams you should do a self-portrait of yourself as a bear.
Yeah. How's it feel to want? Huh? What? So I'm almost done with this. This is definitely a few hours worth of work. A lot of fur. But it's been fun creating this fur. A lot of people are saying this would make a great t-shirt. Wow. Ooh. Maybe we'll put it up for availability as a t-shirt. That would make kind of a fun t-shirt, wouldn't it?
The Barbarian.
The Barbarian. On Thor's Day.
Have you done any characters for movies that you wished you did differently or that you're not proud of?
Not that I'm not proud of. I wish I had had more experience. Like, I'd love to go back and have a chance to redo Rajah, both the design and the animation. I think it's okay, but I was young back then, and I'm a much better animator than I was, and designer than I was back then. And I'd love to have the opportunity to redo, even though it was a small character. Just to be able to redo that would be great. Things like that. But we always look back on our stuff and say, man, I wish I could do, wish I had another chance to make that a little better. And but you just gotta roll with it.
How do you draw white hair in traditional pencil drawing?
You gotta draw around it, unless you have like a white charcoal pencil, and then but you have to paint in the negative spaces. There's no other way around it. So I'm trying to do all this fur kind of rolling in on itself, curling in on itself. I'm doing highlights within the shadows.
Is there work in animation for artists and illustrators without any animation training?
Sure. I mean, there is in management and production management and that sort of thing.
Maybe like a background artist too for the illustrators.
You still need to know somewhat of what's going on. Maybe a little bit in the character design world, but it really
Concept artist?
it's hard. Yeah, I think really good landscape artists can kind of make a transition. But once again, it's just difficult if you don't have the experience, because there's a lot of it's not just painting pretty pictures. You got to know why you're creating what. You need to understand the cinematography. You need to understand sequential storytelling. All of that, because it all has a big part of what you do, even as a environmental artist.
What do you think about Hayao Miyazaki's work?
I love Miyazaki. Love him. Love everything he's done.
And somebody has officially titled this Game of Sheeps.
Game of Sheeps. I like that too. I like getting the little stray pieces of fur out there. You can see the key here is I'm being very spontaneous with all of it.
Yeah, somebody says it would actually be fun to watch you try to redesign Rajah and how you would redesign him.
Well, the first thing, in thinking about that, is I'd still have to work within the design conceit. It was a very round or smooth, curvy film. Very curvy film. It was designed after the caricature artist Al Hirschfeld, who had a very strong, fluid, curvy design conceit to his work. So here I'm just throwing in some brighter light areas on the fur, on his cirque, his berserk.
Looks like no new questions from Nick Nelson yet.
From Nick Nelson? What?
Nick Nelson.
Oh, Nick Nelson, I know.
Because he looks like Willie Nelson, so Nick and Nelson. Nick Nelson.
Yes. So, here we go.
Yeah, some people are saying they would love this as a shirt.
So once again, just to put a little plug in there, if you guys don't mind, we've got a brand new way of getting content off of my website, creatureartteacher.com. We have a brand new streaming option where you can stream. You can do a monthly option through streaming, and if you can't afford the big outlay of a yearly membership, you can do the monthly streaming, and it's a little easier on the pocketbook. So check it out. It's at creatureartteacher.com. You can still get a lot of all the stuff that's offered to the regular members, and you might like it. It's worth a look. So I'm gonna work this down through here. I'm gonna darken. I want to darken the shadows. You can see when I take the shadows away, how much the shadows really hold that together. I'm going to add a layer. I'm going to set it to multiply. I want to get some deeper shadows in there, or some deeper darks. So I'm going to go to my gradient tool. I want it to go really dark down below. So I'm taking my gradient tool and just pushing those darks. Maybe I'll do it under the secondary rim light. There we go, because the deeper dark should not, the secondary rim light should still stand out on top.
So at the end of your
there we go.
At the end of your announcement, I was going to creatureartteacher.com.
It's grand.
It's grand.
And I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab that there, and I'm going to go darker with it here, and just go out here and get a little bit of a darker area behind. I need to set that to multiply.
It looks great. Could be cool to have a couple of little flies hovering around them.
Yes, actually I was going to do that. Good call, whoever said that.
That was Mark Greenbaum.
Greenbaum. Just cleaning this up a little bit here and there. Actually, this I'm gonna lose that layer. Yeah, we don't need that darker back there like that.
Do you like French?
You like Dax? What?
You like Dax? Dogs. Yeah, I like dogs. No, do you like French animation such as Persephone's?
Triplets of Belleville.
Yep, the Triplets of Belleville.
Yes, I love them.
I love that movie.
So do I.
Have you seen Creature Comfort?
Oh, of course. Absolutely. It came out years ago. That was one of my favorites. One of the first things Nick Parks did. Nick Park, I mean.
What's Creature Comfort? I can't remember that one.
It's when they're in the zoo and they're getting interviewed. Oh, I got a whole bunch of stuff up here. YouTube question. When you do these for fur highlights, are you picking up the stylus and making individual strokes for each stroke? Yes, I think so. Yes, I'm drawing very fast. Maxine Jackson asks, "What do you think about Corey Loftus's work?" I think Corey Loftus is a freaking genius. The stuff he did on Zootopia is just genius.
Freaking genius.
He's a freaking genius. I love Corey Loftus's work. He's amazing. And Digibirdie on Periscope says, "This would make a great craft beer label." Yes. Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh.
Perhaps Barbarian Brew. I like it. I'll have to send this one in. Barbarian Brew. Yes. It's got the color. I've lost the color, though. I'm going to have to play with the color a little bit. One thing I can do, you know what you can do? It's pretty cool. Watch this. I want to warm it up. I'm going to warm everything up. So I'm going to put a layer right over the top. And I don't know if I want to set it to multiply. I'm going to try multiply first. I'm going to go with a somewhat warm color. And I'm going to knock it way back. And
what's your favorite Glen Keane advice?
My favorite Glen Keane advice was to stay loose, baby. Stay loose. So I'm adding some warmth to all of this through multiply. Yeah, Glenn always really pushed me to stay loose. And just to really feel the animation, to feel the acting, to feel the emotion, really feel it. And that's really important. So do I want to do that, or do I want to set it to overlay? The overlay lightens it too much, but if I go darker with it, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go here, I'm going to go to overlay. See, I still experiment. I still don't know quite if it's going to be the right color or not. So if I go to a darker overlay.
Does son Blaise have any aspirations to work for Disney?
I don't know, son Blaise.
I do not. I did work in the movie industry before. I did work along with Disney in my own company before, but never had an interest for Disney, to be honest. And honestly, I'm perfectly fine where I am now.
I think you and I have a pretty good time.
Yeah.
We're the two best friends that anybody could have.
We're the two
Best friends that anybody could have. We're the two best friends that anybody could have. And we'll never, ever, ever, ever leave each other. I missed the last one.
And more red, I feel, is needed here?
Maybe. Just trying to warm it up. Fun fact, Nick Park and Aardman also did the Sledgehammer music video. Did not know that. Some people are saying that they like the muted colors. Maybe. I'm going to turn that off. That's a little muted. I like warming it somewhat. Let me try this.
Honestly, with the thunder
image adjustments, expose there we go.
With the lightning strike in the background, I think that will give off a more cooler color.
Well, it will on the, there we go. I want to go a little warmer. There, I kind of like that. Gonna go a little warmer with it, right in there, in the red zone. I'm kind of digging that. Against the blue, it's a little bloody looking. I could pull it back, just a touch, but to me that's a lot better. It's a lot. I like that warmth playing against the cool. I'm gonna roll with that. I'm rolling with that. Rolling with it. Roll with it. Dog, stop it. Making noise back there. All right. All right. There we go.
By the way, I love you, Dad.
I love you, Dustin. All right. I like that. See, I'm in the home stretch here. All right, so now I'm going to go in the background and I'm going to grab a little bit darker. Is that the right? Yeah, I'm going to go a little darker, a little bluer. Grab my big chalk brush. Got it set for 46%. I want to get a nice big sweeping kind of feel to it, like
what
storm
things
clouds.
do you fear to draw or try to avoid to draw?
I fear nothing. I don't know. I don't know. There's not much I fear to draw. For me, as long as you take enough time with something, you can figure it out. This feels pretty good. I'm gonna do something over the top.
I think you just fear drawing crowds.
I fear crowds. Period.
Well, and also you had to animate the entire crowd in Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah, but I mean that was just like, yeah, you just gotta just do it.
Do you know David Nethery?
Yes.
You do know him?
Yeah, David Nethery's awesome. David Nethery is a TV paint guru.
And he's my 2D teacher. He did work on Lion King, Oliver and Company, and Aladdin.
Also, Brother Bear. He was the key cleanup on the Mother Bear on Brother Bear.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do you have a Gumroad page?
I don't.
What's a Gumroad page?
It's a road with gum.
Oh.
No, I don't.
Most of the drawings I see you do are facing their right or our left. Is that just your preference, or is it easier that way?
It kind of goes back and forth. I think lately, yeah, I think maybe it's, I don't know, but they kind of go back and forth.
It's just that you're more comfortable with that sort of angle most of the time.
Yeah.
So I kind of find myself doing that too. Like, I do full body poses of robots and things like that, and they're always facing one direction with a similar matching pose.
Yeah, I really, if you look at the full body of all my work, it goes back and forth. There we go. I got a little bit of lightning there. And let's see, what do I want to do with that? I want to look at you. If you hit shift and double click, you can get some pretty interesting effects. I want to outer glow, where's my outer glow? Outer glow. I can play with that. I want the opacity to be not so. Oh, that's the blend mode. I want that to be normal. The advanced blending. The outer glow.
Oh,
Not sure what I'm doing here.
Huh?
I'm just playing with this right now. Blending options. I'm going to take the outer glow out. Put the opacity all the way up. I'm just going to play with this inner glow, radiant, outer glow.
Somebody suggests to make a silhouetted goat in the background getting electrocuted. The lightning.
Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep that layer, but I'm going to go in with, I'm going to blend it with my background. I'm going to take these three, actually, I'm going to do this first. I'm going to double those up. Then I'm going to put those together and I'm going to merge those layers. Carlos Rue on YouTube says, how about you add some painting patterns to the horn? That's a great idea. I'm going to do that. That's a great idea. Thank you, Carlos. And what do I think about The Incredibles 2? I haven't seen it. Haven't seen it. Didn't see it.
Don't worry, me either.
I feel bad about saying that, but I haven't seen it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go really super bright with that. And I'm going to go and grab my airbrush. My airbrush right there. And I'm going to set this to about 23%. I'm going to go color dodge. I'm going to go a little bit bright right here. And I'm going to burn this in and create a little glow. You can see, turning it into lightning.
Have you worked with Stephen Bliss?
I have not.
There says, I can hear intimidating bagpipes in my head looking at this guy.
So you can see by adding, I'm using the airbrush setting on my brushes and going through and working this little bits by little bit, I can get a nice little lightning effect, which is pretty cool. And I'm going to get this to glow up in here. There we go, like it's coming out of the sky. There it is. And now what I want to do is I'm going to take this, whoops, that, and this guy, and I'm going to double those up, and I'm going to put that into a folder, and then I'm going to merge that folder, layer, merge group. Now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go through, and anywhere where that lightning is going along the highlight, I'm going to brighten it up.
Ready for a quick
Just
question?
like that. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm ready.
No worries. When you character design, what's your thought process in finding the caricature or the personality in your designs?
Yeah, I really, if I'm character designing for a movie, which I usually am, I want to know everything about that character first. So I try to read the script and understand who that character is, and then that feels pretty good. And then I take what I know about that character and I start to just kind of integrate it into just good design. I start thinking about shapes. I start thinking, I start taking the design side of things and what I know about the character, and I start to blend them together to create something unique. I know it's a weird way of explaining it, but that's kind of what goes through my head. I think before I go further on this, I'm going to add a layer, set it to multiply, and I'm going to use blue. Use Carlos's idea. Carlos. And I'm going to do that and bring this up to full.
I got a question here I'm going to try and interpret the best that I can. I want to draw animals. I wonder if I should focus on one particular animal first, or if I should try drawing all different sorts of animals starting out.
Start with just one first, at first. And, just see where it goes. Don't overwhelm yourself with too many animals. That's kind of cool. I'm just drawing random kind of shapes here.
Kind of like Viking markings.
Yeah. Kind of makes me want to do it on him too.
After Brother Bear was finished, what did you work on in Disney after that?
I moved to California and I worked on developing several different movies. One was called The Long Shots. I worked on a film called The King of the Elves. I was the director actually of Romeo and Juliet for about 7 months before I left that project to go back onto King of the Elves. Maybe this is too much, but I'm just gonna paint like he's got all kinds of markings on him. So I worked on several different projects, but ultimately none of them really got made. They just kind of, I had another one that was called Birds of a Feather. We just never. I don't know if that's too much. What do you think? Hey, Aaron, please, for the love of God, save. It's actually saving. It's saving in the background.
So you did set it up?
Yeah. I think I'm going to lose the ones on his nose. Let's see what that looks like if I lose those. But keep the ones. I'll take the ones off of his ear.
Those horns.
And then do maybe just one. And then a couple spots.
Because they're blue markings. So he said, now with the markings, I see Mel Gibson from Braveheart now. Freedom!
Freedom!
Scotland!
I'll lose those.
It's a Viking goat in a lift in Scotland.
That's kind of fun. I like whoever came up. Carlos, thank you for suggesting the markings because that I'm really happy with that. I'm going to go in here now. I like the nose ones. I think the eye are too much. That's what Nick says.
Yeah. So
yeah. Screw you, Nick.
The face is too much.
What's that?
The detail. The.
I agree. Actually, I agree that the markings on the eye. I like the ones on the nose though. I'm gonna keep that. How about we do this? Let's give him some blue eyeshadow. How's that? Actually, that looks kind of cool.
He looks fabulous.
It doesn't read to me as makeup. It looks like it's just like dark rings around his eyes. I just want to try something really quick. Just humor me for a second.
Yeah, people are saying that the nose detail is too much.
Well, I like it. And I'm painting it. Let's see here. No, I think that's the eye one is too much. I like that color. There. I'm digging it. So far, so good. There. Now I just want to go in on here and push the image adjustments, saturation. Just want to push that saturation a bit.
Trying to fix the saturation.
Yes.
Somebody suggests to make the lines more runic.
More runic?
Mm-hmm. Like runes.
Yeah, I don't know what that is off the top of my head.
Oh, you don't know the markings?
No. Oh, I erased something there, didn't I? I guess I turned those back on.
What did you do?
I erased something. Alright, that feels pretty good. I think the last thing I want to do, let's save it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the background, layer, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Just want to blur it, not a ton, maybe just a little bit, because now I want to have a little bit of room to blur the character.
Yeah, somebody says maybe the nose paint would have more breakup since it's painted on fur.
It might. It might. But I can do this. Watch this. Da, 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 da. Ba, 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 ba. Where did it go? Where did it go? This one? Yeah, this one. You can do this. Using my smear tool and some dots that I created for a brush, you can smear them.
That looks a lot better.
Yeah. See? Never say never. I can smear them on here to make it look like they were smudged around a little bit. Lose a little bit of their edges. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Fur brush to the rescue!
Fur brush. There. Meh. 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 Alright, so now save that all. And I'm just gonna
So now you save.
I'm gonna do this. Double that up. The rest I'm gonna put here.
Do the earrings need any
Turn
more
those
work?
off. Oh yeah, they do. That's a good idea. Thank you. I've missed it. And I'm going to layer, merge that group. And now I can go through and clean some of this up. And we are so close to being done right now.
Yeah, somebody says, what about making the markings red instead of blue?
Oh. Yeah. Well, it's a little late. I just merged the group, so no.
Darn.
Darn.
If only we were here a minute earlier.
And I do, yeah, this is a good idea because I'm so close to finishing, you guys. Sorry, this is a long one today. I think this is going to be our new record.
What comedians do you like?
Oops. What comedians do I like? Billy Connolly is my favorite of all time. Have I done any pyrography? I thought it said pornography at first. I've never done any pornography. But pyrography, wood burning. Yes, I have done wood burning. I'd love to see that in the future. Actually, I've got a couple of wood burning sets in the house here, so maybe we'll do that. Actually, that's a cool idea. I think maybe I will do that. Pyrography, not pornography.
Not pornography.
No, well, I won't be doing that.
What is that? Yeah, I think one of my top favorite comedians has to be Gabriel Iglesias.
Yeah, he's good. But I'm telling you can't hold a candle to Billy Connolly.
John Panette?
Billy Connolly, man, I'm telling you. Billy Connolly's the top. He's the top for me.
For you.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm just going through. I'm going to add a couple little shiny, just to add some texture.
Zero. See, Dustin, those nose markings just needed sheer determination.
Those ellipses on the earrings are terrible, but I'm just going to roll with it.
The what?
The ellipses, the oval, the shape of the ear.
Yeah.
I did a terrible job on the ellipses.
But they look like they were cheaply made from a blacksmith or something.
So there we go. I'm putting a little highlight there.
Connolly was in series of unfortunate events, right? I didn't realize he did stand up.
That's where he got his start. That's where he got his start. He's one of the funniest men I've ever seen. Robin Williams was great too. I loved Robin Williams.
Yeah, I love Bill Connolly in all the different movies, and he was actually in a few episodes of House, the doctor show.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And he ends up being House's stepfather.
Oh really?
And it is a really, really funny episode. He and House's mom ends up helping one of House's subordinates because she got high off of acid by accident.
Nice.
And she goes on a bad trip, and they end up helping her calm down because they've been through that situation before.
Nice.
There's no way to treat a bad trip. How about Thor's hammer necklace?
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna
leave it in shadow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it in shadow because I've got a lot going on in here. So I'm gonna play with this now. I'm gonna probably blend it all together. I'm gonna just play with some. I'm gonna save it.
Did I just call you a cheap blacksmith? I think I did. I think I did. Because I made that comment with the earrings.
Alright, I'm going to bring this up here. I'm going to merge those two layers.
Do you take any inspiration from Charlie Chaplin's acting?
Yes, I have. It's all pantomime, baby. Image. I'm going to do the filter. Filter, blur gallery, tilt shift. I want to keep this in focus up here.
Oh, that's
I
right.
want this
Billy was in Muppets Treasure Island for a hot second.
For a hot second. Do you know he was also in The Last Samurai?
Yes, he was.
He gets speared.
Yes, he does. Spoiler alert. I'm sure everyone has seen it by now. And
Just want to push all that out of focus a little bit down below.
He definitely looks like seems like the kind of guy you would love to hang out with.
Oh, yeah. And have a couple points with. This one definitely needs grunge on it, too. A grunge texture.
Grunge?
Grunge. To dirty it up, you know? So we got some, I blurred out the bottom, which I kind of like. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my smear tool, grab the airbrush, turn that off, put the strength at about 45%, and I'm going to blur out, I'm going to keep everything that's closest to us in focus, but maybe blur out
what
some
tool is
edges.
that splits the camera focus?
That's a tilt shift. It's under the filters. If you come up to filter, blur gallery, it's tilt shift, and I can pick what I want to push and pull out of focus. But what I'm doing now, I have to do it slowly. I like this better than the blur tool. What I do is I grab my smear, my smudge brush, my smudge tool, my smudge tool.
Your smudge?
Yeah, my smudge tool.
Yes.
And I can come in and and if I grab an airbrush, I can take areas that are further away from camera and push them out of focus. So like this ear, for example, I can push that out of focus. But the nose and the foreground and the teeth, those are going to stay in focus. I can push the horn out of focus.
Quick question.
Yes.
What would you change about this character if you were to animate him?
The details. I wouldn't have them nearly as detailed.
They probably keep like at least the coloring and the mark and certain markings, but like all the fur textures and everything, like that would just be too much detail.
Yeah. So the reason this is going so slow is because this is a very big canvas, and there's a lot for the computer to think about. It's trying to catch its thinking right now. So I'm just trying to push that. Maybe I'll push that edge a little bit out of focus. Just a touch.
Hello from Mexico. In this
Hello.
illustration, are you using some reference for the color?
No reference for the color. I just kind of made it up. I mean, I had that reference for the sheep really briefly that I looked at for a couple of minutes. But then I just kind of rolled with it. We just kind of made it up as we went and had fun with it.
Would you want to do a tour in Norway? This country needs you.
Yes. Bring me. Bring me to Norway. I would go in a heartbeat. I will draw a Viking sheep in Norway. Actually, from... I think it's the wrong part of the world, right? No, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Like Norway.
Yeah, I'm going to push this eyelash out of focus, just a touch. There, so you can see it gives it a little bit of a photographic feel, a little bit of 3D. Just makes it feel kind of nice overall. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab file, open. I need the grunge. I'm looking for grunge. And I'm going to go on this Mac, and it should come up. Where is my creature? Doggone it, where is it?
That is it?
Forest Creature 2. There it is. Forest Creature 2 small. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to open that up because that's where the grunge layer is. I can't find it otherwise. Here's my grunge texture. And I'm going to drag that grunge texture right over to here. There it is. F. And I'm going to edit, free transform. I'm going to bring that sucker right out to the edges. I'm just adding like a little bit of dirty grunge to the whole thing. Just because. And I'm going to up the opacity on that so you can see that grunge a little more, especially down on the bottom. I'm going to let that really take over. And then here, I'm going to go in with my eraser. I know this is getting really long, you guys. I apologize. I'm going to finish this up as soon as I can. I'm just really enjoying creating this character, so. I'm going to take away some of the grunge. Whoa, I should use the airbrush setting for my... Where is it? For my brush, or my eraser airbrush setting. There we go. I'm just being very subtle. I like the grunge on the horn. That feels pretty good. I want to leave some of the grunge up there, but I don't want it taking away from our area of interest. And then we go back to the layer underneath, and I'm going to double that up because I want to have a safety one. And I'm going to go to brushes. I'm going to go to my brush. I'm going to go to color dodge. Bringing the opacity down to 8%. I'm going to get really warm right in here somewhere. And this is going to be touchy because this is a light colored animal to begin with. Excuse me. Animal to begin with. So what I want to do is just brighten up very slightly some of these areas. Just getting them nice and maybe a little hotter where the light's really hitting. There we go. There. We have a goat, a Viking goat. You're awfully quiet over there, Dustin.
Because you're talking.
Do we have questions?
Not at the moment.
Okay, well there you go. There you go.
But people are saying this reminds them a lot of How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Especially with those big horns.
This is fun. Just people are saying I could stream for 10 hours and people would watch. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I just feel like me drawing for people is like watching paint peel. But
whatever you do, don't attempt it 24 hours straight.
no, I'm not going to do that. I promise. But there we go. We got a Viking goat. That's, you guys asked for a Viking goat. Where did it? There we go. There it is. You got a Viking goat.
On and off, dude.
He goes like that. All right. Do we need more saturation in the color? Do we need it? Do we need it? Let's see.
The horns aren't actually his horns.
Image.
His head
adjustment.
has no horns.
Saturation. I'm going to push it a little bit. See what that looks like.
Thor has two goats that pulls his chariot, Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder.
Really?
Image, that's true.
Rotation, horizontal. Just want to look at it from the opposite angle.
Could you explain again, please, how you pull that grunch over the picture?
Oh, yeah, that's really simple. I'll show you. I kind of like it. Do you like it better this way? Maybe it's just because I'm looking at it new. Shouldn't make any difference, but I kind of like it. You like it like this?
No, I'm just used to seeing it
like that way.
That way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll show you exactly how to do it. You on this side right here, I have the grunge layer highlighted over on the right. See where it says grunge texture? So I've got that highlighted. Then I grab my move tool, and it's as simple as grabbing it there, and you can see I'm moving it around, and I just drag it and then drop it right on top of my other piece right there. And F, I can do edit, transform. I'm going to flip it vertically so it doesn't match up exactly. Edit, free transform. Maybe I'll double up the grunge on it. Let's see what that looks like. Probably too much. Let's see, I'll hit that. Return. And that one's at 46%. I'll bring it up a little bit to 70. And once again, I'm going to go in and erase away but I like that it's giving me a lot of grunge down below. There we go. Yeah, I think I'll keep that. So I doubled up the grunge. So there we go. That feels, I like the dirtiness of it. I like it. Feels hardcore, you know, just rough. There. So there we have a Viking goat. One last thing to do. Let me grab, maybe this color here. And let me grab this here. And I'm going to go to normal. And shrink the brush down. Signed. I don't like how bright that is. Let's push that back so it doesn't grab your eye. There we go. So now my signature is nice and dark. So always sign your work. So there, we have a Viking goat. How is that?
Looks
There it
great.
is. Look, my head's going to go away. Oh. But anyway, thank you guys. That was a long one. That was almost 3 hours, right?
Oh,
So
it's 3:55.
even Nick stopped typing.
Nick is like, I'm done.
But thanks for hanging out. I think that's the longest stream I've ever done, ever.
No, we've done longer.
I don't think so. I think you're wrong.
We've done like
I think you're wrong.
3.5 hours.
But anyway, that was fun. Thank you guys. Thanks. I love doing request day because I just have no idea what I sitting down. I never thought in a million years I would do a Viking goat. Oh no, a Viking sheep. Sorry, not a goat. A Viking
Does
sheep.
he have a Viking name like Ragnar?
Yes, there you go. But anyway, that was fun. Thank you, you guys. And you can see, with just a little bit of imagination, a little bit of research, don't just dive in. At least go on Google and research some of your costumes and your animals and that sort of thing. You can have some fun and just put things together that aren't normally together, and who knows what you come up with. And that's what we did today. So I hope you learned something. Like I always say, go out, put some beauty back in the world. I don't know if this is really putting beauty back in the world, but put some beauty back in the world. And take some of the techniques. Maybe you learned something new today. Take some of those techniques and try them on your own. A lot of the stuff you can even apply to traditional painting. And so try that, especially the opaque, working opaque over, opaque paint over opaque paint, which you could do with acrylics and gouache. So try some of that. Go out, be nice to somebody, put some beauty back in the world.
And
Put away your grocery cart. And I will talk to you on Tuesday. Remember, go on over to creatureartteacher.com, my website, and check out all the different lessons we've got there. There's all kinds of stuff. We've got the new streaming option there, plus we've got all kinds of animal drawing, animation, character design, anatomy, storyboarding, color theory, all kinds of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed today. I will see you on Tuesday. And so with that, have a great weekend. Dustin?
Bye.